Welcome to the Navy Elementary Conservation Landscape Garden. To tell the story of this garden, we need to go back in time over 5 years ago to 2016, when we were just 6th graders. During our 6th grade year, 2016 to 2017, 4 students from Navy Elementary entered an eCybermission competition sponsored by the Army Education Outreach Program, AEOP, that asked kids to solve a real-world problem that affected their community. We chose a problem that limited school recess at our playground. Every time it rained, we could not visit the playground for days afterward because of standing water. There was standing water on the playground and all around it, making access to the playground difficult too. We knew something was wrong with our soil and needed expert help to understand why the rainwater was not soaking in. To help us understand, we contacted Dan Schwartz, a soil scientist with Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District. Dan came to Navy Elementary to teach us how to test the permeability of our school's soil with a soil infiltration test by hammering a pipe into the ground and pouring water in. Dan told us that healthy soil would absorb 2 to 6 inches of water an hour. The test demonstrated that the soil at our school allowed water to soak into the ground at 1/3 of an inch per hour. This is extremely impermeable soil, almost as bad as concrete.
To further our research, we compared the soil at our school with the soil at different areas at our coach's house, who is a Fairfax County master gardener. We tested her lawn, native flower beds, and vegetable garden beds and repeated the soil infiltration test. What happens when you take care of your soil, amending with leaf mold every year, leaving turf clippings in place after you mow, and adding lots of native plants to your garden? We took soil samples from our school and our coach's yard and sent the samples to Virginia Tech. The test was done by digging up small but varied samples around the field and the garden in a zigzag pattern and then placing the samples in separate small boxes. The samples could not contain any grass, mulch, or rocks. Compared with Navy Elementary, our coach's house had much better soil. The infiltration rate was 18 times faster with a rate of 6 inches per hour compared with 1/3 of an inch at Navy. The school soil was considered acidic, 5 range, versus the soil at our coach's house, which is alkaline, at 7.2 to 7.5. Our coach also had 10 times more organic matter and double the cation exchange capacity compared to the soil at the school. How did the soil at Navy become so impervious? Soil scientist Dan Schwartz paid us another visit, and this time he brought his Enviroscape model to demonstrate what causes impervious surfaces, runoff, and its impact on our watershed. We placed model trees, fertilizer, cinnamon, animal feces, rainbow sprinkles, houses, buildings, roads, animals, and cars. After that, we poured water onto the model, watching as the fertilizer and animal feces collected in the runoff and polluted the waterways, especially on the areas of the map where there were lots of impermeability, roads and buildings, versus the areas where there were trees. Navy Elementary on West Ox Road is surrounded by lots of roads, parking lots, and buildings, but the ground also acted as an impermeable surface because it was so compacted. Over 1,000 students use the playground and field. You can see the impact of 2,000 feet running across the grounds and the compaction and erosion it causes. We visited our local difficult run streams and saw the effects of runoff. Fast-moving rain events cut through streams, widening stream banks and exposing tree roots. Muddy waters act as pollution, along with fertilizer causing a decline of invertebrates in our streams and impacting the health of our drinking water. This was a much bigger problem than not being able to visit the playground. To devise a solution, we met with a whole host of experts and worked on the problem of impermeability and conservation of our land. We met with Rachel Tolman, Conservation and Interpretive Manager at Long Branch Nature Center, and Maria Harwood of NVWSCD to discuss plants and native trees, the Zager brothers about wood carpet playground and track solutions, the Director of Playgrounds at Fairfax County Park Authority to discuss proper turf care. With the help of a native plant landscape designer, Julie Udani of Greener Gardens, we devised a solution of native plants and trees with strong root systems that would help water infiltrate the ground in key areas near the playground and school entrance.
The Army awarded our team a grant of over $4,000 to implement our solution at Navy Elementary. The area outside the playground looked like this before we implemented our project. As you can see, even grass would not grow due to heavy compaction. We broke through the compacted soil, which was also filled with construction debris and rocks, and planted the design in May of 2018, which included new turf around the storm drain. In areas 3 and 5, we planted switchgrass Shenandoah and Sweet Bay Magnolia. This is what the garden looked like in 2018 after planting. In Area 4, we planted a forest pansy redbud, winterberry wintergold, southern gentleman, Arkansas blue star, wild yellow indigo, false indigo, golden ragwort, and Japanese cedar black dragon to give some structure to the entrance to the school doorway. This is what Area 4 looks like today. This is Area 5 today. And this is Area 3 today. Switchgrass prefers moderate to moist soil. The plants did such a good job of helping the water infiltrate into the ground and solving the issue of standing water that the conditions of the garden changed to dry.
All of the plants performed well during these past 3 years except for the switchgrass. We removed the dead and dying switchgrass and replanted this spring with drought-friendly natives. The other major problem we faced was weeds and maintaining the garden. To prevent the weeds from coming back too quickly after we weeded the beds, we placed several sheets of newspaper down before we mulched. Additionally, we included much more ground cover as we renovated the beds and planted new plants. Poverty oatgrass, purple love grass, and golden ragwort should fill in and help suppress weeds. Here's a tour of our garden after the recent renovation, including new signs to continue to educate the public.
Now we will take you through a short tour of our garden and show you the signs that we put to educate the public. This first sign here talks about how we can make our Earth's water cycle healthier and also how to solve the problem of runoff.
As we move into the second sign, we'll talk about native plants. Native plants are important because their roots penetrate deeper into the Earth's surface than invasive species, which prevents erosion. In addition, native plants can survive without fertilizer and can also survive in drought-like conditions.
This sign helps educate the public about native trees. Native trees and their leaf canopies prevent rainwater from touching the ground, and their roots take up water and promote infiltration. This sign helps educate the public about watersheds and what they're all about. Our watershed is the Chesapeake Bay Watershed. It covers 6 states and the District of Columbia. It is very important because pollution that lands in the Chesapeake Bay watershed can affect aquatic life and the water that we drink daily.
This sign tells us about how we can help our Earth breathe by keeping our storm drains clean. We can do this by not using too much fertilizer in our yards, which is the main pollutant to the Chesapeake Bay watershed. In addition, we can also prevent trash and debris from entering these storm drains and going into the water.
Our original plants of redbud, winterberry, Arkansas blue star, wild and false indigo, and magnolia gave our garden structure and staying power through the past few years. Golden ragwort became a superpowered ground cover, filling in as a first layer and suppressing weeds. These plants tolerated both wet and dry conditions with little maintenance and watering. Our new plants should help fill out the garden and provide seasonal and structural interest. They include coneflower, black-eyed Susans, yarrow, sundrops, bee balm, yellow twig dogwood, southeastern ryegrass, St. John's wort, foxglove beardtongue, golden Alexander, catmint, and ox-eye daisy.
Thank you for visiting Navy Elementary's Conservation Landscape Garden. We hope that this will inspire other students to create sustainable gardens, help the earth breathe, and make a difference in our world.